afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Stock Market Today. It's Melissa Corum and Ken Trebe here to break down the market action. And Ken, underneath the surface, there was a lot of encouraging moves. So we're going to take a look at the major indexes, the Russell, really the shining star once again today. But Ken, talk to us about the couple of stocks that we're going to be highlighting.
Yeah, I mean, if you're looking at the price action of the major stock indexes, a pretty quiet session outside of small caps, which outperformed again, but a lot of big gainers below the surface. So we'll take a look at a couple of companies with exposure to the aerospace industry, TransDigm and General Electric, and also take a look at uranium miner Cameco, which recently flashed a sell signal, but gave an alternate entry today.
All right. Yep. We'll check in on those. But first, a look at the indexes, small caps in focus once again with the Russell 2000 up 1% today. We're taking a look at the IWM ETF. We also had the Dow up 0.4%, the S&P up only 0.1%, and the NASDAQ essentially flat today, Ken. But this is really great to see the Russell following up on yesterday's strength and really getting back above that 50-day line. So hopefully this can stick.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, volume, you can see volume down at the bottom has been pretty light, but we're not going to get overly concerned about that. It was a pretty ugly reversal for the Russell 2000 on Tuesday, but a nice reclaiming of the 50-day moving average on Wednesday, and then a gap up today. So the Russell 2000 is definitely looking pretty good here. It had been the laggard index, and then the other major stock indexes, like I said, not much price movement today. We had outperformance by blue chips. The Qs were notorious laggard. We had some weak earnings reports from Workday and security software firm Okta. PayPal lagged, Adobe lagged. So the Qs, a modest decline here, but overall, you have to call this market action constructive. A lot of big movers underneath the surface today.
That's right. Yeah. And even with the weakness in tech today, we have the Qs also above the 50-day, the NASDAQ above the 50-day as well. So it seems like we are seeing improving conditions. The S&P maybe a little bit of resistance around the 4,200 level as it makes its way to highs.
Yeah, this is kind of interesting with the S&P 500 because you can see it, the SPY actually, crossed the 420 level today, but you can see it closed in the bottom half of its range, only with a very modest gain and volume increase. So this has the look of a stalling session. We're going to have to analyze it a little more, but we look at stalling as a form of distribution. Anytime anytime an index gives back an early gain in higher volume, that would be called stalling. So we'll check the final volume and see if it ends up being a stalling session for the S&P 500. But again, as we talked about yesterday on the podcast and yesterday's SMT video, there's the action this week in growth stocks and industrial stocks, reopen stocks. It's been pretty darn good so far this week.
Yeah, quite encouraging. So let's take a look at some of these stocks. We have TransDigm, ticker TDG, a former long-term leader that really got hit hard at the pandemic. The fundamentals just got hit extremely hard, but we're seeing the outlook start to improve for TransDigm and a big breakout today, Ken. We saw the stock move up over 4%, heavy volume. So this is looking pretty good.
Yeah, this one joined the leaderboard model portfolio today, and you can see this big, long sideways consolidation. Even though the relative strength line is still off highs, I mean, you have to forgive that to some extent just because of this long sideways action by TransDigm. I think what trumps this relative strength line and sort of a lukewarm relative strength rating is just the explosive move higher today in strong volume. You go back to the daily chart, this was just a legitimate breakout. You can see all the recent highs here. 633.04 was the pivot to watch. You can see that 5% buy zone is such a high price stock. The 5% buy zone is still intact here, and TransDigm is still in buy range. So this was just as one of many really excellent breakouts today.
Yeah, and the stock closing almost at the top of its range, so some strength there as well. So good to start seeing some breakouts, Ken. It feels a little different to start talking about all these breakouts, but let's also highlight CCJ, which did try to break out the other week, but fell and triggered a sell signal back at the top of the buy zone today with a gain of almost 5% on its own, up in above average turnover here too.
Yeah, I would call this an alternate entry. This is a kind of an interesting stock. It's a uranium miner. Its industry group, mining metal ores, was one of the day's top performers. We saw broad-based strength in a lot of mining stocks. Cameco, initially, that breakout over the 1971 pivot looked very, very strong. Volume, 10.9 million shares on that day, was very, very heavy. And then, the breakout just totally fell flat. It fell for 4 straight sessions. What was interesting is when it fell 8% below the buy point, that triggered a sell signal. But when it did, it basically came right down to its 21-day moving average there. So this is an example where if I knew where that 8% stop loss was, I'd probably give it a little bit of room and just see how the stock acted around the 21-day. It eventually found support, but today's really nice gain. It outperformed in the industry group. You see, volume was very, very heavy. So I would say that it cleared an alternate entry today after that sell signal. Some say with that prior buy point is still in play. Either way, the stock looked actionable today. Definitely viable.
Yep, and the relative strength line continuing higher, and it comes from a strong group. Like you said, these mining stocks are quite compelling as of late.
Yep.
We want to round things out with a look at GE, General Electric, breaking out, up 8.5% for the week, with the bulk of the week's gains coming from today, up over 7%. And look at this blue volume spike.
I mean, just an amazing breakout for General Electric today. Again, just an example. You could call this sort of a breakout over a trend line. You can see it's near the top of this consolidation. There you go. Yeah, nice trend line there. So I think the stock was actionable today. A lot of these aerospace companies, remember, GE is a big part of their business is jet engines, and Airbus significantly raised their production targets. That could mean more business for GE. And don't forget, President Biden is going to be presenting a $6 trillion budget. Who knows? That could help business at GE. Either way, there were big buyers in the stock today. Another actionable stock, a beautiful breakout over an early entry point, and you can see it really hasn't crossed that left side high of 1441. So we'll see if this stock can follow through Friday and break out with conviction. But a very, very bullish move for GE today, no doubt.
No doubt. And Ken, I think the question now is, with all these breakouts, can they stick? Or are we going to get reeled into the market just to be spit back out in a couple days?
We're going to stay optimistic here. I think the action so far this week has been really, really solid. We've seen broad-based leadership. Growth stocks today, top-rated growth stocks in the IBD 50, for example. It wasn't like they were a dime a dozen, scoring explosive gains and breaking out. But you're just starting to see good broad-based leadership in the market, and I think that's very encouraging. And looking at the breakouts for TransDigm and GE today, I think there are reasons to be optimistic about this market. But listen, we have to. Market has shown us with volatility that you have to be nimble and just watch the action in your stocks each day. Learn to recognize abnormal action when you see it. But put it this way: I'm not expecting TransDigm and GE to I'm not expecting these breakouts to fall apart immediately. I think the volume and the close near highs, these were very strong breakouts today, so wouldn't be surprised to see some follow through tomorrow. And if not follow through, just constructive tight price action. We'll see.
All right, well, we'll have to see, but broad-based strength, that's really positive, as Ken mentioned, encouraging action there. And for more insights from Ken, make sure to check out this week's podcast episode, which Ken mentioned. He was this week's special guest, and it was a very wide-ranging conversation. We talked about current market conditions and really dug into what you want to look for when it comes to pullbacks to the 10-week 50-day line, why you should be looking at both daily and weekly charts, and rounded it out, of course, with some analysis of interesting movers, including Upstart, which is still on a roll.
Yeah, that was just kind of middling around today, and then some buyers came in late. It scored a new all-time high. So this is a new issue that we talked about it yesterday. There's a very compelling fundamentals here, but good to see Upstart have a really solid session today.
Yeah, so check out the podcast episode at investors.com/podcast. And we'll see everyone tomorrow morning to cap off the week with IBD Live in the morning. So check that out, investors.com/IBD Live. Thanks for watching, everyone.